What's up? Welcome to the channel. If you're a returning viewer or subscriber, welcome back. Thanks for joining us. If you're new here, feel free to drop a sub and follow along our journey in video production and all sorts of stuff like that. In today's video, I'm going to be walking you through our top 10 production items that are both useful and cheap. These are items that we use pretty frequently on shoots, in the office, managing gear, all kinds of stuff like that. Basically items that any filmmaker should really have in their back pocket, so to speak. Not all of these items fit in your back pocket, but you get the idea. So with all that said, let's get into the video. So before we get started, all of these items that I'm gonna be going through are linked down below. So yeah, just check in the description if you're looking for one of the things that I talk about. All right, so number one is bongo ties and bungee ties. These kind of come in various forms, but ultimately it's basically just an elastic tie. They can wrap around power cords and XLRs and all kinds of stuff like that. You just kind of wrap it around the cable and then lock it with a little blue thing, and there you go. Number two is stools, foldable stools particularly. So these are something that we just started using relatively recently, within the last year or so. And basically these come in handy on a lot of shoots. So whenever we're doing an interview with somebody, we always like to have them in a chair that doesn't swivel, preferably a chair that doesn't have a back. There's a couple different reasons behind that. So basically, number one is the backs of chairs can kind of look ugly for an interview. And then number two is when you don't have a back to your chair, it forces better posture, which ultimately looks better in an interview. So these little chairs are super lightweight, super portable. They're probably like, I don't know, like how much do you think this weighs? Like 5 pounds? I don't really know. So number three is power splitters. So again, these kind of come in different forms, but they all basically do the same thing. You can get these at Home Depot, Harbor Freight, Amazon, whatever, for like a couple dollars. And basically this just triples the amount of plugs you have. So if you have an extension cord, a stinger, or even just a socket in the wall, having one of these is nice because in video production, as you know, a lot of things use power, a lot of things require power, whether it's lighting or charging batteries or cameras or monitors, whatever else you need it for. Having a lot of power is really nice. And so instead of having to worry about like large power strips or bringing multiple extension cords for additional plugs, having one of these is super portable, super compact, and super effective. Number four is this fun little grip vest. So this is a Conterra vest. I will link it in the description. They're a little bit hard to find. Not sure exactly the price, but I think they're relatively cheap. And these are a great thing to have on kind of like larger shoots. They're a really good alternative to like grip belts or something like that. So instead of having a bunch of stuff on like your belt, weighing your belt down, you can kind of throw this on your chest. Super easy to do. Just throw it over your head and then clip it in. Having this, you can throw all kinds of different things, whether it's tape or lens cleaners or radio, whatever you need to throw in here for a shoot. This comes in handy a lot. We just used this on one of our last bigger shoots. This is something that I feel like is maybe slept on a little bit. A lot of people tend to go for the grip belts and all that, but I definitely prefer having this type of setup for all of us to use. Okay, so number five is an Apple box or a set of Apple boxes. So this is a Kupo nesting kit. So basically it's a 4-in-1 set. Basically there's a full Apple box in here, and then there is a half, a quarter, and then a pancake. So basically you just slide that open and then all these other ones come out and you can use them for all sorts of things. Apple boxes are like an essential for production. You know, you could use it for a stool, you could use it to get to a higher space, you could use it to lift up talent a little bit. There's endless uses for Apple boxes, and they're relatively cheap. This is probably one of the more expensive items in this whole set of things, but you know, I would argue that it's probably one of the most important things to have. And then there's even a 1/4-20 screw on this little bit, so you could theoretically screw it into like a C-stand or a combo stand or something like that, and you know, potentially use it as a table. I'm not really sure what the use is. We've never really used it for that before, but it's there if you need it. So yeah, Apple boxes are great, and particularly having the 4-in-1 nesting kit is great because it fits all in the full Apple box instead of having to carry around different sizes and all that and taking up more space. It's nice having condensed stuff. We have a lot of gear and limited amount of space for traveling, and so basically having anything that we can kind of like fit into one is great. All right, so number 6 is tape. Gaff tape, electrical tape, paper tape. Obviously gaff tape is a big one with production, super useful, doesn't really like peel paint off or anything like that. Great for taping down cables and all kinds of stuff like that. But really just any tape in general is great to have. There's so many different uses for it. You know, whether you need to label cards for media and you throw some tape on there and write some numbers on that, or you need to mark things, you need to mark where talent's gonna stand. Having tape is one of the essentials for any production that we're on, regardless of how big or small it is. How am I doing, Ryan?
Good. Yeah, better than I could do for sure.
Number 7 is this little rocket ship right here. This is a camera cleaner, lens blower, all that stuff, just a little air thing. I'm sure most of you probably have this, most of you have seen this. Super nice little thing for cleaning out dust on lenses if you're changing lenses, all that stuff. The camera sensor is exposed for a little bit. It's nice to just dust it out real quick before switching. You know, we do a lot of nature shoots in the forest and the dirt, all that, so camera gear gets really dirty. So having this is a nice little way to quickly dust stuff off. All right, so number 8 is a furniture pad. So you can get these bad boys for probably like, I don't know, $10, $15 at Harbor Freight, Amazon, Home Depot, Ace. And again, a lot of different uses. One of the biggest ones is sound deadening and dampening. You throw this on the floor below an interviewee. If the microphone's above, that'll really cut out a lot of sound, or you can kind of throw it behind on a wall or on some stands, cut out some of that reverb and kind of get some clearer acoustics. Another thing that this is great for is basically the intended use of this. So moving blankets are meant to kind of protect things. So this is something to throw over gear or Pelican cases or camera bags in transport. It gives a little bit of padded protection to stuff and all of that. So number 9 is a cheap little set of earbuds. When we are doing interviews and recording sound, we always are listening to the audio, preferably with a nice pair of studio headphones. But there are definitely those times where we forget to bring larger headphones and we still need to listen to the audio. We still need to hear if the levels are peaking, hear how the levels are, all that stuff. All right, so number 10, the last item here is a good little multi-tool. So this is a Leatherman. You certainly don't have to have a Leatherman. There's cheaper options out there on Amazon. You can get a multi-tool for like $10. Having something like this in your camera bag or your gear case is really important. Something that has pliers, Allen screws, Phillips, flathead, knife, all that stuff. You never know when you're gonna need some tools, whether you have to get a tripod plate off or something breaks or a screw falls off or something like that. Plus having all these other little tools on here, like a bottle opener, never hurts for post-shoot beers. All right, so our table's pretty full now. That was our top 10 useful and relatively cheap items that we use for a wide variety of shoots. So price range for the most part, everything is probably under $10 to $15. with a few exceptions. The Apple Box for one, the 4-in-1 nesting set, I think is like $150. So that's definitely over the average price here. But there are cheaper options out there for Apple Boxes, and you can also just get a full instead of a nesting one for I think like maybe $30 or $40. So there's definitely cheaper options out there. The full is definitely the most handy if you just want one, so that is a cheaper option. I hope you guys found this video a little bit helpful. I hope that you learned something from this. Maybe there's a new piece of gear you're gonna pick up from this, or something that you're gonna throw in your camera bag after watching this. As always, if you enjoyed this content, feel free to drop a sub and drop a like. Until next time, peace.